Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about an arc I received from NetGalley. That book is called The Tethered Mage, and this is by Melissa Caruso. Now, The Tethered Mage is book one of the Swords and Fire series, but I don't know right now how many books are going to be in that series. This first one is going to be released by Hachette, and it comes out on October 24th. Of 2017. So it is a young adult fantasy. It's not typically the kind of book that I read, but something about the synopsis of this book on NetGalley and the cover, it all seemed very captivating, and that was true of the book. The Tethered Mage is set in a world kind of reminiscent of Venice, Italy, and the author said, that she was originally modeling the world after a 1600s Venice that included, the city infrastructure, the canals and everything are present in this book, and also the city government of the time. But it morphed into, obviously, a fantasy world that involves a few city-states, all part of the Serene Empire. Amalia Cornaro is the daughter of a reputable council member for this empire. She's kind of not interested in the things that her mother sees for her in the future, but there is a sense of obligation and duty that Amalia recognizes. As her mother's only heir, the council duties that her mother currently holds will be passed on to her. One day, Amalia is walking through the streets to a bookstore or magic shop looking for something very specific related to the magic that she likes to research. She herself is not gifted with magic, but she is fascinated by some of the magical abilities in her world. Those who are known as mages. They carry the mage mark, which is an extra ring around the iris of their eye. So anyways, Amalia is walking through the street one day, and she comes upon a girl who seems to be being attacked by 4 men, I believe. And suddenly the girl being attacked kind of bursts into flames and starts burning everything around her. A member of the Empire's military arrives and tells Amalia that the only way to be stopped is to slip what is known as a jess around the girl's wrist. When Amalia does that, she becomes the girl's falconer. Rivera's government enlists any mage-marked individuals into the military, and they are sort of held kind of captive by being literally chained around the wrist. They become known as falcons, and each falcon is controlled by its falconer, and the falconer is the individual who places the jess around the falcon's wrist. Zara is older than most mage-marked individuals when they enter the Riveran military, and that's because she's lived on the streets, she's lived a hard life, she's tried to hide in order to not be what in her mind is a captive of Rivera or of the military or of the Empire. And so she is not happy. She is a fire warlock. She is the most dangerous of the mages. Anytime she uses her powers, it is likely that she will become out of control, and she's got a bad attitude to boot. Amalia is not really supposed to be a falconer. She already has this duty to her empire's council. And now that she owns or is in charge of the most dangerous kind of mage in the empire, it sort of shifts the political power. Her family, as a result, now is viewed as having this unfair advantage over all other council members, all other city-states, etc. So the rest of the book is about Zara coming to terms with the fact that she's a falcon and she's in her mind, a prisoner. Amalia trying to build trust in that relationship, and also trying to do what's right for the council and for the empire. This book is really captivating in the beginning. I really loved the first quarter of this book, where I was getting to know the circumstances and the magics and the governments, these two girls thrown together by circumstance. And I loved the beginning of this book. And I liked the end of this book, where Amalia sees power within herself and becomes the person that she's going to be, instead of the childlike character that she was at the beginning. Obviously, her Falcon, Zara, goes through quite a journey as well. And the end is exciting, and the end is great from the character's perspective, and what the characters managed to do and who the characters managed to become. The middle, though, was unexpected for me, because I was sort of hoping that it would be more action driven, and instead the large majority of the book is about political unrest in the empire. And instead of fighting wars or invading other realms and other city-states and, you know, all of that dramatic stuff that comes with political unrest, for the most part, this is about, like, politicians in a fantasy world meeting and discussing things. And there was too much talk for me. I really would have preferred a more action-driven story. This was a decent setup for the beginning of a series that could potentially be a really great fantasy, young adult fantasy series. There just wasn't enough action for me. There's just a lot of different directions that I saw the story going, and they never went there, if that makes any sense. Twists, the intrigue, who's guilty, you know, you never know. It's not telegraphed by the author. It's a surprise at the end, and I like what's done there. But again, I just wanted to see more dramatics. The other thing is, this is a really long book. Let me see if I can show you guys how long this book is in comparison to other books that I've read lately. In the Kindle app, the length of a book is sort of represented by dots running under the title. So when you're looking in the library, you can kind of get an idea of how long a book is. So there's the Tethered Mage. I know it's going to be blurry, but you see all those dots? Like, come on. Below that is Her Last Day, which I did a review on not too long ago. That's a thriller. And then we've got romances, which are typically shorter as well. But look at all those dots. It is super long. If the book had been dramatically exciting, I wouldn't have cared if it had been that long, because I would have been flipping through the pages. But unfortunately, with so much discussion and so much political debate and so much, it was like playing Risk. You know, that's what it reminded me of, like a game of Risk, where, you know, things are happening, but you're mostly just standing over a board talking about it. So it was painfully long in that regard. I don't want to say that the information in the book was irrelevant and should have been cut out, because I don't know that that's necessarily true. I just know that amping up the action a little bit, making things maybe a tad bit more dramatic in the middle of the book, illustrating relationships through action instead of Amalia's thoughts on things, would have probably made it more successful for me. So far, the book, again in advanced reviews, is doing pretty well, maybe just shy of 4 stars on Goodreads, a little bit less than that on Amazon, and it seems like everybody kind of has the same complaint. Most people are talking about how interesting the beginning of the book is, but then how boring it is to sort of just read about political strategy between these city-states in this fantastical world. The second book is called The Defiant Heir. It looks like it's going to be released in April of 2018, and it deals with Amalia trying to calm tensions that build in this first book with Rivera and another city-state, Vaskandar. It all just sounds very interesting, and I'm really tempted to continue with the series, even though this isn't normally my taste in books, and I'm kind of curious to see what the author does now that we've established the world, now that we've laid the groundwork, and maybe some of those more boring political things were related to that. Where could this series potentially go? Where could the relationship between Amalia and Zara go, considering one still feels like a captive of the other? Where could the relationship between Amalia and Marcello go, who is the soldier that first introduced Amalia to Zara that day, who orchestrated Amalia becoming Zara's falconer? Where could that relationship go? Because there is sort of this romantic thing going on with them. So, I am really curious, and it might be one of those things that it might be a timing issue. It depends on where I am reading-wise when this second book is released. Or if I have the opportunity to read an advanced copy of the second book, then that would increase the likelihood of me reading it. All in all, at the end of the day, I respect this author. I think that the story is written really well. I cannot complain about the actual writing style at all. I just have some plot problems where things kind of fall off in the middle. But again, total disclaimer, not familiar with the genre. Maybe this is normal. Maybe this is why I don't read the genre very much. I don't know. So if you've heard of the Tethered Mage, then let me know what your anticipatory thoughts on the book are. If you have any questions about the book, or whether I think you in particular might be interested in reading it, let me know. I think this is the author's debut novel, but if I'm wrong and you are familiar with the author Melissa Caruso, let me know what you think of her as well. So that's all I have for you about the Tethered Mage. Again, this releases on October 24th of 2017. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you all very soon.